Hello and welcome back to my British GT Championship Series on ACC. Today we have round 5, the penultimate round at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, where I think we're going to have a very interesting race because guess what? It's raining all weekend and I don't know how to drive in the rain. So this should be a fun one. We're looking to pick up some good points. The championship is probably... the win is out of reach, but definitely there is a podium on the cards for the end of the season. So let's get into the sim and see how it goes.
Green light, go, go, go.
So, welcome to Spa-Francorchamps, and let me tell you, this is going to be fun, because look at the weather, it is horrible. We've got a nice, wet, damp track for all the fun to begin. So, as I go out on my free practice lap, today's going to be an all post-commentary video, because as you can see in the top, I am actually talking to myself in the microphone, but my microphone was not recording any audio, so we're going to have to do this whole thing again post-commentary. Anyway, I decided to skip through practice because I didn't even set a time, because it's a long track. I put a 5-minute practice, you know, whatever. Qualifying. I extended qualifying to a 15-minute session just because Spa is quite a long track. And I thought a 15-minute session would give me a chance to do a couple of laps and let everyone else do a couple of laps as well, because we want good qualifying, because we want a great race, and we need a great race, because Donington Park last week should have been an amazing race for us, and we somehow screwed it up. So here's qualifying for Spa. So it got a bit drier, but the track was still very damp. Now the issue with that is that the tyres I just couldn't figure out. As we, on our first flying lap, got the inside of a Lamborghini, I couldn't figure out the tyres. So if you can see in the bottom right corner, I'm on wet tyres, and this is my first flying lap, and they are on fire. So the track wasn't wet enough for wet tyres, so I dive into the pits on my first flying lap. So I've still not set a time in qualifying. I decided to try something different and maybe see if I could go out on dry tyres. I've got 9 minutes left, so I've still got time for a couple of laps. And as you can see, as soon as I go out onto the dry tyres, it's like icicles. My brakes are cold, my tyres are cold. Doing everything I can on the Kemmel Straight to get my tyres up to temperature, but it was very, very difficult. Look, already going into Pouon. Brakes are a little bit warmer, but the tyres are still freezing cold. Look at that. Look at the understeer. And I get on that curb and you just go straight ahead. So this was maybe not the best idea, but I think looking at the time, I realised I had time for another pit stop, so I dived back into the pits for a second or third time this session. Still haven't set a time with about 4 minutes to go. Really messing with some strategies here. Chuck on another pair of wet tyres. Let's see if I can actually get a lap in and record a lap. So here we go. This was, I think, my first actual timed lap around Spa in a 15-minute session with only 2 minutes left to... So here's our first timed lap. As you can see, I'm in 15th place. I still haven't set a time. About 2 minutes left to go on the lap, which, you know, is it's a lot of pressure, let's put it that way, because I'd had a few invalidated laps, a few laps with the tyres, but as you can see, my tyres are, well, let's call them up to temperature, and maybe a little bit over temperature, and the brakes are freezing cold because the temperature on the track is freezing cold, and look, overall it's miserable conditions. It's not like pouring rain as well, the track was just like damp and greasy, which was even worse because it was just in the middle of this point for tyres, and I had no idea what tyres to put on. Look, so as we go down here, it was a real struggle for qualifying. I was really, really struggling to try and find where I could brake, where I couldn't brake, where I was sliding, where there was some dry track, where there wasn't some dry track. It was an absolute pain. I was stressing a little bit here, which is I was going to do post-commentary anyway because I'm not talking at all. Look, as you go through Pouon, you just have to take... I learned this from the F1, you've got to take a much tighter line. Do not touch that curb. You touch that curb, whoosh, straight off into the wall. That curb just grabs you and brings you towards the shadow realm, exactly where you don't want to be going. So we've got about 1 minute left in the session. I have to set a lap here, otherwise I'm going to be starting in 15th. In a 20-minute race around Spa in the rain, with the length that a pit stop takes you, because obviously we've got mandatory pit stop in here, with the length of a pit stop, because you have to go around the first pits, round the corner, and round the second pits. You lose so much time. So, and I'm rubbish, we've discovered many, many times. I'm absolutely useless at pit stops. So, I had to nail qualifying. So, coming around to Blanchimont, 6th gear, really, really pushing it. A little bit of a lift because I don't want to invalidate the lap. Just about stay on the curb there. You've got to keep 2 wheels at least on the curb to keep your lap valid. Down into 2nd gear, down into 1st gear. Don't mess up the bus stop. I really, really need to make this. And then I quickly realised that if I could just push it over the line, I was going to get one more flying lap. So this was the first flying lap that I did. It puts me on 2nd, but I thought, I'm not happy with that. I'm going to fly. So I did one more lap, avoiding GT cars right at the end, a little bit deep into the bus stop chicane, but I'm not going to show you the whole lap because otherwise this will be a 50-minute video. But coming across the line, it's a 229, 230, 231. We go across the line, and that's pole position. As you can see, I was very happy about that. I was not expecting that. My tyres were absolutely on fire, but somehow managed to stick it on pole. Now, we have stuck it on pole before this season, and we came 2nd because we screwed up. So we're going to hope I don't do the same thing again. Here we go, into the race, as usual, a 20-minute race around Spa. The weather is still gross and slippery and horrible. I've got a couple of Mercs and a Lamborghini for company, then followed by the train of Aston Martins that we seem to always have. So, around the first corner, I'm leading the pace. I decided to slow the pack down quite a lot here and hoping that I could get a good launch. Completely forgot to turn my wipers on. That could have been a disaster. So I'm trying to back the pack up here so I can get a good launch up Eau Rouge and Raidillon, and I can just lose them in the tow. What actually ended up happening is, well, I screwed up the launch. Absolutely messed up the launch. And I get absolutely mugged off by 2 cars here. Now, as we go up Raidillon and Eau Rouge, and Mercedes almost gets it all wrong here, I'm already down into 3rd. You're going to notice something in the top right-hand corner, and I'll enlarge it for you, but as I start the race, that happened. Slick tyres optimum. I've started the race on wet tyres, and the game is now telling me that I should be on slicks, which is great. Anyway, at Les Combes, dive up the inside of the Mercedes. That was actually a pretty easy pass. He sort of just let me go there, and I go on the hunt for the Lamborghini. So I'm on wet tyres. I'm not sure what tyres everyone else is on. If the game is suggesting slicks, they're probably on slicks, which are going to be freezing cold. Already my tyres are like just not even just coming up to temperature. I've already, like, the front left and the rear left, I've already got tyre wear on it, and we've done about 4 corners, so this doesn't bode well for the rest of the race for me. So we cut to later on in the lap. I'm coming up right up behind the Lamborghini. I had really good race pace today. Go to look up the inside, he sort of covers that off, so I've decided to commit to the outside. This is a difficult pass in the dry, and it's a bit sketchy in the dry, but in the wet it's even worse. So I do get the pass, manage just about to stay on the track, as you'll see in the top left-hand corner with our lovely TV cameras, hard on the anchors for the bus stop. I have brought the wonderful TV camera back, so we get some more footage, until I didn't record the rest of the race in it. So we have it sometimes, we don't have it sometimes. Anyway, we move over to the end of the lap. I've taken back first place. Despite losing 2 places at the start, I've got first place back, and now it was all just about an interesting line into the first corner and pushing a gap, because we know how horrible I am at pit stops. As you can see, the tyres were, well, really struggling. I don't like to make the pit stop until about halfway into the race, and we were at about 16 minutes there, and the tyres were looking abysmal. I managed just about without crashing. A few little incidents and some overcorrections that I needed to make, but with 11 minutes, I thought, well, it's going to be a long pit stop, so I might as well just come into the pits. The tyres should last about 10 minutes each way, especially with this incredible tyre wear that we're seeing, because the track isn't wet, it isn't dry. Who knows what tyres to put on. So I've committed at the end of this lap. I'm going to come in for my pit stop as I dive up the inside of the Vivaro GT4 Aston Martin. Completely needless overtake, but I didn't have much overtaking to do at that point, so I was a little bit bored. Anyway, diving into the longest, with a little clip on the wall, diving into the longest pit stop, pit straight, in this, so I will speed this up for you because it's just abysmal. Now, you will see me entering the menus here because I didn't know what tyres I was putting on. So I had to map a button to bring up my pit stop MFD menu, which you're going to see is going to play into the rest of the race a little bit. I decided to go on to dry tyres because of how much my wet tyres were overheating. So this MFD pit stop menu, I mapped a button to bring it up so I could change my tyres before my pit stop, and then that button just seemingly stopped working. Yeah, it later on in the lap. That menu I just couldn't get rid of, and it's quite hard to try and drive a car, especially when they're dry tyres on a damp track and it's very, very slippery, and I'm also trying to press every button on my wheel and my keyboard to try and get rid of this menu because it was so much in the way. It's in the way of my mirror, it's just annoying me, it's taking up about half the screen, I'm very frustrated at it, and I'm trying every button. But also, if you look at the top of the screen in my rearview mirror as I slide off into oblivion, I've got the Mercedes for company. Now, the Mercedes over the weekend, qualifying pace, pretty rubbish. Race pace, they were this Mercedes here was absolutely rapid. Didn't start in the top 3, but by the end of the race and towards this part of the race, absolutely in the contention for it. I don't know what it was about the car setup, but it obviously wasn't as good as mine as I slide off into the... I like that the game's like, low tyre pressure, stay away from the curbs. No shit, look how cold my tyres are. Anyway, so I'm still trying to get rid of this pit menu. Still trying to defend against the Mercedes, and I've got to go catch up to some people to get first place back. Look, the race win wasn't looking very on the cards, let's say. As I come into the bus stop chicane, still trying to figure out what to do. I think at this point I might have just go absolutely wide at the bus stop again. I think at this point I paused the game to try and figure out what the button was mapped to. I even went through the HUD, and then I think we had another little accident later on. I just couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. Anyway, I've got TV cameras back so you can enjoy me getting mugged off by this Mercedes here. It was just had so much more grip than me. I don't know if the rain got more intense and wet tyres then became optimal, but the game didn't tell me that, or my engineer didn't tell me that, as we fly up Eau Rouge and I run a little bit wide as the Lamborghini comes out of the pit stop, and that is the race leader in front of us. So I'm in second, the Mercedes is in third, and the Lamborghini's in first. Cold tyres, so I definitely fancied my chances catching up to him here, and already on the Kemmel Straight with the extra run we'd had, I reckon I could get him here as we go through Lacombe. Just slide out a little bit wide. As you can see, the car was just moving and understeering like an absolute boat as I run off again. Really track extending quite a lot in this race, especially Eau Rouge and Blanchimont. I really messed with the track limits there, but you know, didn't get any penalties for it, so that's racing. As we were, look, I've just got full lock on and I'm still really struggling to get the car turned round. I just was not aquaplaning, but just sliding out wide, especially in these like long corners like Pouhon, avoiding that curb like the plague. Anyway, I was making good time though on the Lamborghini in front of me. So I look up to is this Stabilo? I don't know, I can never remember the Spa corner names, but we're right up the back of him. I'm definitely thinking about a pass, but I decided just to hold my time. I want to get a pass in around the back straight, around Blanchimont and stuff like that, because then I'm not compromising my corner exit for any other corner. As you can see in the top left-hand corner, the three of us are very, very, very closely knit together. This, and I'm pretty much got not many cuts for the rest of the race because this was just chaos until the end. So I managed to go round the outside just about of the Lamborghini, get myself perfectly set up, and then I have a little bit of a moment, go way too wide onto the grass, and now everyone is up my backside. Again, track extend massively at Blanchimont. I've got the Lamborghini and the Mercedes right behind me. As I go through the bus stop chicane, I also had another, as you can see, the pit stop menu still up on my screen. So at this point, I again tried to pause the game and figure out what was going on. Now what happened was I accidentally changed the camera instead of turning off the pit stop menu because I pressed the wrong bloody button. So now I'm trying to change my camera back, to the camera that I like to use, and before you know it, I've got a Mercedes up the inside and a Lamborghini on the outside. So, with about 3 minutes left in the race, I lose first place to the Mercedes, and I'm having flashbacks to Silverstone all over again. So what do? Actually nail Eau Rouge and Raidillon for the first time, but look, you should never overtake someone before Eau Rouge and Raidillon because you're just going to get done down the Camel Straight. Camel Straight? Camel Straight. Whatever we want to call it. Anyway, I managed to get past the Mercedes and then into the braking zone. I just go a little bit too deep. I tried to outbrake him and just got on the brakes at about the dry braking point instead of where I should be braking for the wet. So the Mercedes goes in past me. Not too worried about the Lamborghini because I have overtaken him twice, so I know I've got more pace on him. But this Mercedes was just a real problem. And as you can see, he is sort of pulling away. Then I get a little bit closer. We were about half a second between us. Sometimes pushing to a second, sometimes pushing to about 2/10. But there were parts of the track that he was really strong. There was parts of the tracks that I was really strong at. And now I'm kind of panicking because I've got under 2 minutes, which I think it's this lap and then maybe the next lap for me to go and catch this Mercedes. Because I wanted this race win so badly. We need it for the points. I really haven't scored that many points. I've actually done very disappointing, and this is the penultimate round. So I really want that podium at the end of the season. So pretty decent line through the last couple of corners. He brakes for Blanchimont. I decide I'm going to do a famous track extend, which actually I don't think I did there. Oh, no, I definitely did because the warning came up. Down on the brakes, just biding my time. I don't want to overtake him because I know I'm going to get him at the Kemmel Straight. So I'm just biding my time. Nice, good exits. Don't spin out. Don't over-rev these freezing cold tyres. As you can see, the tyres are still absolutely freezing cold. Why did I put on dry tyres? Doesn't matter. Already done. Right, into La Source. I think that's La Source. I can never... What are the corners called? La Source, fine. Onto the straight for Eau Rouge and Raidillon. I've lost a little bit of time, but that's okay because you don't want to be right up the backside of someone going up here because all that turbulent air and, well, I've missed the corner anyway, so somehow got away with that, even though straight line in that corner gives you so much more speed, so I don't know how I got away with that. We are on the final lap. I go round the outside, which is going to turn into the inside. I've got enough space to brake at the right point. Still missed the corner a little bit, but this time not as much. Managed to hold the Mercedes off just enough, and I'm thinking, right, first part of the lap, sector 1 done. I've now got 2 sectors just to defend against this Mercedes. Don't make a mistake, do not screw up, and this will be the first race win for the AMR 21 team. So, around that corner into No Name. I'm going to switch quickly to the Stabilo corners because, well, we didn't need to see me defending for a whole lap. Because Sector 2 didn't really make much difference. Anyway, he gets really close. If you look, it doesn't look that close in my mirrors, but you can see in the top left-hand corner on the TV cameras that he really was right up behind me. And, you know, if I'd made one mistake, that would have been game over. I probably would have lost the position, and I probably would have been second place instead of first. So, we come round to the last couple of fast corners. I do a famous track extend down into the bus stop. I'm just not going to make any mistakes. Hard on the brakes. Brilliant. Round once again and across the line, and that is my first race win. Look how happy I am. Look at my little face. Look how happy I am about that. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. First race win. I know it's the penultimate round, but it really felt good. That was a really tough weekend. Oh, it just felt good. Look how happy my little guy looks up on the podium. Look at that. And that car is just so beautiful. Brilliant. Absolutely over the moon with that. Fantastic. So there we go. That was Spa-Francorchamps. That puts us as a team in 5th place. If we can get a win at Brands Hatch, a podium for this season might be on, and after the start to the season that I had, that would just be absolutely amazing. We would absolutely love to get a podium. So, next week, Brands Hatch, season finale of the British GT Championship on ACC. The video will be out next Saturday. It'll be a big bumper video. I'm going to do my best to actually win a race. So, Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see the season finale, please drop me a subscribe, ring that bell notification, and until then, I will see you on the next video.